Welcome to the Trades Podcast, a podcast about the business of home improvement and promoting the trades to young adults. In this podcast, we talk with business owners, educators, and professionals about the benefits, skills, and related experiences of the home improvement business. Tips to help you with being successful from entry into the trades or established business owners. In this podcast, we hope to influence some young adults that the trades as a career is a great option leading to full and prosperous life. I'm Danny Torres, an MC, DJ, and podcaster, inspiring young adults by shining light onto career opportunities in our world today.
And I'm Jeff Mudd, home improvement contractor, writer of the Millionaire Carpenter series, and podcaster.
Stay tuned to 15 to 20 minutes of insightful tips.
Right here, ladies and gentlemen, the Trades Podcast. I am DJ Danny.
And I'm Jeff Mudd.
Right here, we have another awesome episode for everybody here today. Another kind of unique guest that we have. We have Chris Ng in the house. Chris, how you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, awesome. And to let everybody know, Chris is Industry Outreach and Intern Specialist over at Costa for the Costa Technology Career Institute. That was a mouthful.
That's it. Yeah, we shorten it to TCI because education loves an acronym. But yeah, thanks for having me. Where should we jump in here?
Yeah, no, I mean, just let us know about the institute, the the climate that you've been experiencing right now, and just kind of give us a little bit more information of the program.
Yeah, what TCI is all about.
Yeah.
Sounds great. All right. Well, yeah. So Costa College Technology Career Institute, but colloquially we call it TCI. So we are a satellite campus under the umbrella of Costa College. We're the workforce development arm of the college. So we run technical, accelerated, hands-on programs really designed to get students in, get them trained, and then get them on a living wage career path job.
Awesome.
Awesome. And I mean, I'm sure you're probably going to go into a little bit more information, but we'll be diving into a lot more of exactly the institute, the process, and because I mean, truly this is super important. I mean, the way that we got connected, we talked about a lot about the importance of really getting this promoted out to a younger generation. Anybody that's needing to really find a new career path or see options, or if they already have even some experience, probably grow even more into some internship programs and all that. I mean, what's been the most positive thing that you've gotten out of working at the Institute?
Oh, gosh, there's so much. These programs really can be life-changing for people. Those of us of a certain age would remember back in the day, either vocational school or trade school. So this is not a new concept, but it's something that we've kind of culturally got away from, and now we're realizing, I think, accelerated by the pandemic, that really we need skilled labor across a variety of skill sets, that a 2 or a 4-year college is great, but there's other options out there for people who aren't so inclined. So I'm happy to talk about the programs. I think for me, what I get out of it most is seeing someone who's come from a background in maybe retail or fast food, has always been, they like to tinker with stuff, or they wanted to work with their hands, or they imagined themselves in a different role than where they are. And to be able in, 2 to 4 months to turn that around so that they can get a living wage career path job, so that they can see not only upside right where they are now, but they can see a path ahead of 3 to 5 years doing something that they're naturally good at, and that pays them well enough to live in, as we all know, an increasingly expensive part of the country.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think we're all experiencing that too. And
is the 2 to 4 months, Chris, typical of all the programs?
It is, yeah. So again, at the main campus where you can get, a 2-year degree, we run different programs, anywhere usually between 8 and about 18 weeks. Again, get them in, get them trained, get them a job. So we do things like engineering technician. We run a welding program. We do machinist, both manual and CNC. We run a welding program. I may have said that already. Phlebotomy, vet assistance. We have a craft brewery program that's really
awesome.
nationally awarded.
Nice.
So kind of something for everyone.
Second career for me there.
There you go. Especially on the tasting side, right?
I know Jeff said earlier he gets all his best ideas when he's drinking. So
there you go.
It might have to be his second career. But I mean, so you mentioned people are coming from different industries going into these programs. Is there like a qualification that they have or that they need in order to get into the program?
Really, the biggest qualification is motivation. If you're really ready to make a change in your life, if what you're doing isn't working out for you and you want to see a clear path that doesn't take a lot of money, doesn't take a lot of time, then you're a perfect fit for our program. That could be someone who's 16, 17, 18. That could be someone who's already had a career and is looking to make a change. So I think right now our average age student is probably 26, 27.
Oh, wow.
I've seen everybody from 16, 17, didn't want to do the high school route, up to people in their late 60s that have had a career but always wanted to do something different and have made that change later in life.
Yeah.
Awesome. Are all the classes in classroom?
They are. Due to the hands-on nature of all these things, as you can imagine, it would be hard to learn to weld by Zoom. Although interestingly, we just bought new VR and AR headsets that we're training welding on. But no, to answer the question, you have to be in class. We've got a variety of equipment related to the things we teach, and we're really teaching the hands-on aspect of those classes.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're probably getting a lot more feedback on, obviously, seeing them do it and being able to train them hands-on. And like you mentioned, a lot of these candidates pretty much, like you said, have always wanted to either be in the field of working with their hands and kind of experiencing things at the field, rather than, kind of being in the behind the scenes at a desk or, fast food, retail. That's, you have certain passions through that, but you can gain a long-term trade through a lot of these programs.
Yeah. And, there's so many interesting industries that certainly I, previous to this role, didn't even know about, but so we're located in Carlsbad, North County. There's a lot of advanced manufacturing there. As you're driving around, there's a lot of industrial parks. And there's a lot of really innovative, very cool things going on right in our backyard. To give one example, we've got an industry partner that under the same roof, they were manufacturing parts for military aircraft. They were manufacturing parts for a nuclear energy reactor. And they had made a part that went on the machine that Johnson & Johnson used to develop their COVID-19 vaccine.
Wow.
That's just one example of one industry partner.
Awesome.
So there's really a broad range of, there's a broad range of avenues. This isn't sort of a cookie cutter approach. This gives students kind of a broad range of skills, and they can take it in a lot of different directions.
Yeah. No, I mean, because, that specific field, like you mentioned, it seems like it's a popular one. But like throughout the whole, like say if there is a number,
Mm-hmm.
It might influx between different industries, but how many students do you see, attending and also on the graduation part? How far along in the program do they get?
Yeah, great question. And we do track, so let me start with class size. So obviously with the hands-on nature of the classes, we have to keep class sizes small. So everyone gets the attention that they need to be able to learn the skills. So generally our courses are capped at about 18 students, between 16 and 18. Retention rates, like you said, they vary a little bit between program and program, but retention meaning how many started, how many finished. Across all programs, that's about 85%.
That's great.
Job placement is probably a little bit higher. So for those who finish the program, how many got jobs? That can be anywhere. Our average is 90. The engineering tech course that we've run, the last two cohorts, 100% of those students had job offers.
Fantastic.
Either before they finished or immediately after.
So just being in the program and the exposure to it has allowed them to get jobs and not even have to finish the course.
That's it. I mean, of course, we want them to finish the course,
well,
and they do, but to have a job offer before they even do is obviously
totally agree.
fantastic.
But that says a lot for the quality of the course that they're taking too, though.
It really does. And, I think a lot of that has to do with our curriculum is based on what industry needs. So as the workforce development arm, we're a little more nimble than the main campus. Since we're a not-for-credit, we don't need to go through the chancellor's office or these other avenues to create curriculum. If there's a need in local workforce, we can address it, do a little research, crunch some numbers, do some curriculum development, and we can have a program up running 5 or 6 months. Wow. That same process at a main campus or any other 2 or 4 year university would take about 2 years. Well, as you can see through the pandemic, we don't have 2 years to address workforce needs. There are needs now that need to be addressed.
Absolutely.
So the programs we run today are different than the programs we ran 5 years ago, because quite simply the workforce is different. There's different needs. And so being able to keep track of what those workforce needs are ensures that what we teach is what industry needs, and therefore you've got high placement rates for employment.
Yeah, and
that's fantastic.
That's like at the top, of any list that what is it that we need now and what needs to get fixed now. And we've constantly talked about it where the trades have always shifted into different cultures, different generations, different needs, applications that they can be applied to. And I think it's great where students are that 85%, right? You said, yeah, that's still a great number. Obviously, we want to be at 100 all the time, of course, but even 85, that's amazing. For all these programs to have that type of the conversion rate on that part, so it's great.
Yeah, and we're trying to make the whole employee there. We realized long ago that technical skills alone does not necessarily a good employee make. They also need what's called professional skills, right?
Yeah,
they need to show
skills.
up on time, soft skills. Show up on time. They need to communicate well. They need to be able to troubleshoot, problem solve. They need to stay off their phone, please. And so all of those things are sort of embedded in the curriculum as well.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Throughout. So we essentially treat the class like a job. So our students get badges. They're badged in, they badge out, so we can track them for punctuality. On many of the courses, they'll get sort of a worksheet on Monday with a list of tasks that they have to get done by Friday. So they learn time management, they learn project management, they learn when to ask for help, who to ask for help. If there's lines for certain machines that they need to complete those tasks, well, then they have to be communicating with their team members about when they can get access and those sorts of things. So we're really trying to replicate the job experience here in our classes.
That's very impressive.
Yeah.
Do they have homework?
Do they have homework? Some do. Yeah. It's basically, if they don't get it done, it's sort of like, I've got 2 kids in high school. If they didn't get it done in class, then they've got to take it home. Now, obviously, if there's equipment, barriers that they can only work on in class, well, hopefully they're taking care of that. But yeah, they've got deadlines, and if they don't meet it within the class, then they've got to find a way to meet it outside the class.
So if you've got good time management, you're focused while you're in class, get everything done during the allotted time, you won't have homework.
Exactly.
If there's struggles, if there's issues that you didn't manage correctly, then you might have some homework.
Yeah, and we realize that, as life-changing as this can be, there's real life goes on outside the class.
Absolutely.
And so we're trying to keep the class based during those class hours. When it spills over, that's the exception and not the rule.
Yeah. And you had just mentioned that, I think you said it was an engineering program that just graduated?
Yeah, engineering technician.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And, how long was that class specifically?
So that's a 16-week course, between 15 and 16, depending on how the holidays shake out. But that's probably our most time-intensive course. Runs Monday to Friday, 8 to 4:30. So they're with us about 40 hours a week, for better or for worse. So by the end, whatever they were coming in the door, they're darn near a full employee by the time they walk out the door after 40 hours a week times 15, 16 weeks.
Yeah. And are you there passing over the certificate over to them?
Not me. That falls to the instructor, but I do watch the graduation ceremonies. Awesome. And they have a capstone project. So they do a final project where, parents, family, and industry partners can come and see the projects they make. And we've seen a broad range of things. One of the ones from this recent cohort was a guy made an air hockey table from scratch, literally fabricated all the parts himself, sourced materials from Home Depot or wherever else, had LED lights embedded in the whole.
That sounds really cool.
The whole
Yeah.
yeah. I've seen people come up with one guy really liked red M&Ms, so he came up with a machine that sorted the red M&Ms. Little light sensor, you fill up the bowl with the M&Ms, the red ones get dropped down this chute, all the other colors go down that chute. So
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I guess that was you go to arcade, game spot and you see air hockey table, but I've never, not until now, I guess, how much it really would go into an engineer would really need to really get into
exactly.
it.
Well,
Hopefully he takes that talent someplace besides Vegas to the M&M store.
Yeah. He actually just got hired at a local engineering firm. He was one of the first hires out of the cohort.
And I mean, you're there at the graduation, you're watching them walk up there, the instructor's giving them the certificate. What does it mean for them to get that certificate?
Gosh, you can see it in their faces. In fact, one guy was actually in tears as he accepted the certificate. And it was just like, you don't know. He turned to the audience. He says, "You don't know what this program has given me."
That's awesome.
So to see that turn around in a relatively short period of time, it's just like, boy, there's.
So it was more than a certificate. It was a personal impact in his life.
100%. 100%.
Awesome.
Yeah. He had been working in fast food for years. He was early 30s. And had just sort of gotten to the end of what he was willing to do and needed to make a change. And this program just sort of opened his world to him.
Yeah.
And to be able to watch that transformation day in, day out, and then see where he ends up is just it's a good reason to get out of bed in the morning.
Absolutely. Great story, Chris.
Yeah, no, that encouragement. I mean, anybody listening, if you feel like you're in that position, feel free to. You have to really step up and realize that there's so many things out there that you can really get into, and so many programs right here with Chris at the MiraCosta Institute that you can definitely go into. Like you mentioned earlier, there's technologies, there's new programs that you can really just be hands on, from the phlebotomy, it's the vet tech. It's so amazing, but. I mean, since technology is always shifting in these industries, are you finding the candidates that you have, pick up this technology fairly quickly? I know you mentioned the VR
Yeah. So, like I mentioned, VR and AR, so virtual reality, augmented reality. We're seeing that in the engineering world, in the biomedical equipment tech, which is basically hospital equipment, patient-facing equipment in the hospital, and welding are all available to that. And the students, as well as the teacher, are sometimes on the same learning curve with new technologies. So it's a learning experience for all of us. But again, with small class sizes, with a lot of attention, we're ensuring that no one's really left behind here. If you're not getting something, we give you the attention to make sure that you do get it.
Yeah, awesome. And are they giving you guys any positive feedback on the technology, or are they saying like, oh, I'd rather do it the another way, or obviously it's implemented in the course, but what's the type of feedback you're getting on this type of technology?
Well, obviously anyone under 30 is living and breathing technology, and for those of us over 30, it hurts our brain, but we come to it eventually. We don't teach technology for technology's sake. We teach it because that's what industry is using. And so there's a reason why we have that technology embedded. And when students understand that, listen, if I want to be successful in this role, I need to learn this technology, that's a much different conversation than, hey, just learn this for the sake of learning it. You're learning it to be more successful in the role, hopefully to be more successful in your life. So I think most people are generally open to it.
That's good. Yeah, because there's always that balance. You always have to have, and the balance of from work and learning these new things that come to you, and also obviously life, being able to apply that either outside of life, and being able to use the skills and trades that you have. And you're speaking obviously with these candidates that go into these programs, and they might be asking questions like, oh, well, what's a lot of the work that has to go into it? How much time am I spending on it? And if they even go into internships, they're probably wondering, how much hours do I have to put into, this type of job if I'm going to go into this field? What's kind of like that conversation that you would have with someone about that work-life balance that they would experience?
Yeah, well, Lord knows I'm still trying to find that work-life balance for myself. But, the first step really to looking at our programs is coming down, touring the facility, getting an understanding of what it is we do there, where you would be, where would you be working, where would you be going to class, those sorts of things. A lot of the times, and this is sort of a human thing, the unknown becomes scary, right? And we create a story around the unknown. When you make something known, even it's as simple as, where do I park at this company? Where's the break room? The more we can make those things known to a student, the easier their transition to something is going to be. So across all our programs, like I said, we've got a lot of industry connections already. We do site tours. So for the biomedical equipment tech, we visit 3 or 4 hospitals throughout the term. We visit 3 or 4 either refurbishers of medical equipment or manufacturers of equipment. So we try to give the students sort of a broad range understanding of, hey, if you were at this hospital, this is what your day looks like. This is the door you come in. These are the people you work with. If it's whatever, in a welding shop, we tour the manufacturing floor. Here's where the welders are. Okay, and here's where the metal workers are here. And so we try to really expose them as much as we can. And that exposure really helps them, envision what they could be in their lives. And then it sort of breaks down any mental barriers they have about like, well, I've only worked in fast food or I've only worked in retail. How am I going to go here? Well, when they see people that have made that same transition, then all of a sudden their gears start turning and going, oh, yeah, I could see myself working here.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that answered your question. I felt like a bit of a tangent.
No, that's perfect. No,
okay.
Because like you said, I mean, they're going into these spaces where, they're coming from totally different industries sometimes, and they can't imagine it until they're actually there seeing it. And I'm sure during the site visit, they're shaking hands with everybody that works there. Hey, who's this guy? And, even probably with the managers at that point. Yeah. Let them know, the climate, the culture of the company that they're there at. Because right now, I mean, that's probably one of the most important things I know with this generation is for sure culture. Like what am I getting myself into? And right. How important is culture for you and for these candidates?
Yeah, it's huge because that's where it all starts, right? Like we said, technical skills alone aren't going to get you there. You really have to have the professional skills, and we all need work on what those professional skills are. No one is necessarily a born communicator or a born, excelling at time management. So first and foremost, we want everyone to be safe. There's a lot of equipment that is potentially hazardous. We want to enculturate safety. We want to encourage everyone to kind of bring their full selves to the picture. We don't need them to be different people than they are. We need them to be exactly the people that they are. We're just going to upskill them in a couple different areas. So really giving them the freedom to be themselves within the structure of the program, making them feel like they've got the support wherever that may be. We've got 3 or 4 people apart from their instructors that just support them in the class. Whether that support needs to extend beyond the class, we can make that happen. But really want to encourage them to really kind of bring your full self to the table and to feel safe in bringing your full self to the table.
Yeah, be 100% present.
Yep.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier, Chris, about the internships. Can you tell us some more about that?
Yeah. Well, we were fortunate enough to receive some state funding last year, and the funding should go through at least December 2023. So we got about another year and a half to go.
Fantastic.
And that's to set up paid internships across all of the programs we've been talking about. Yeah. So while you're in class, generally the internships start about halfway through the class, so you've got enough skills to be of value to a potential business. But we pay students anywhere between 80 and 160 hours for hands-on experience in a real-world business, doing the things that they've been trained to do. The goal obviously being that if there's a good match, then there's a job offer at the end. If it's not a good match for whatever reason, well, they've got a little bit of experience. They've had the chance to network. They've got now a little fodder for their resume, and hopefully they understand a little bit more keenly of what direction they want to go. So it's really a fantastic program, and obviously for any industry partners with workforce needs the way they are now, which are, pretty intense, having free labor for a while, even if it's only up to 160 hours, is still a benefit to their operations. And since we run these programs ongoing, we've got a potential pipeline for local businesses.
So while they're doing the internship, is that 5 days a week or just a couple days while they're still doing the classwork?
We can basically structure it so that it works both for the student and for the business partner.
Okay.
So the 80 to 160 hours is sort of industry standard. That gives them enough time to really get into sort of the meat and potatoes of the work. But whether that's 5 hours a week, 10 or 20 hours a week, really depends on the student and on our industry partner.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You guys got it down. It's a good system. I mean, it's amazing what you guys have been building up. And how long had you been at the Institute?
So I've only been there about a year. The Institute has been there since, in our current location, since about 2015, and then the department has existed since about 2009.
Look at that. Yeah, that's perfect. And like we mentioned, it's always shifting. So there's always different needs. There's always different asks that are needed within each industry. So being able to shift and knowing that when anybody would be going into these programs, that it's going to be for a viable use, not just like, get your certificate and then go off and hopefully find a job of a career that you're actually went through the program through. There's a process that's going behind it, that you're getting put in front of business owners and companies that need your service.
Yeah. And that's really sort of where the rubber meets the road, right? You can get the technical skills, you can get the professional skills, but if that's where everything ends and then you're sort of left to the workforce on your own, there's the gap there, and we're really trying to concentrate on that gap too, and these internships perfectly fill that gap.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool. No, and we had one little quote. We want to get your response and see if we can, just get a think tank right here for you. It's a quote from Theodore Roosevelt. "Far and away, the best prize that life offers is the chance to work hard at working worth doing."
Yeah. I mean, that's it, right? And you talked about, the younger generation, especially, culture is big for them. And it's about value, right? They want to know, and value and purpose. They want to know that they're working for something, not just for the dollars, but for something bigger than that. And when you're focused on that, and there's, the cliche quote of, love what you do and never work a day in your life.
That's it.
There's truth to that, right? And sure, some people are motivated for money, and of course we all need money. But getting out of bed for a purpose every morning,
that's what I get out of the quote, Chris.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. And that's what we aim to do with these programs. We're not trying to fit you into a single job or just one outcome. We want you to bring your whole self here. We'll give you the skills and the tools you need to live your life with purpose. So,
Awesome. Yeah. All right. We said it earlier. You ready for the 5 in 5?
I don't know, but let's go.
All right, cool. Yeah, so we're going to throw out about 5 phrases. You're going to kind of explain exactly what comes to top of your head on these topics. I swear you probably already went over it while we were talking through the podcast. But Jeff, go ahead.
All right, so first one there for you, Chris. Have a positive attitude.
Yeah, well, that's it. Since we've started with quotes, Winston Churchill has, I'm probably going to butcher it a little bit, but he said, "Of course I'm an optimist. I see no point in anything else." And that's it, right? It does start with a positive attitude, and I would caveat that with when you're living your life with purpose, when you know you're exactly where you're supposed to be, doing exactly what you want, it's going to take a lot to make you anything but positive.
Yeah.
True that. All right. Number 2, team player.
Team player, yeah. Well, Rome wasn't built in a day, and it certainly wasn't built by one person. So the ideal is that you are bringing your best self to a team that is also bringing their best selves, and each one of you is an integral part of that team.
Absolutely. Go above and beyond.
Yeah. Now I'm coming up with a quote for everything you say from
The
Perfect.
So this one is from an unlikely source, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who says, show up on time, be humble, and be the hardest worker in the room.
That's it. I've heard him say that.
Yeah.
Ask questions.
Ask questions, yeah. And this is one I struggle with because I want to be the smart guy. The smart guy isn't the one who knows the answers. The smart guy is the one who knows when to ask the questions. And we encourage everyone to ask questions.
That's great.
Great perspective on that. Be a lifelong learner.
Yeah, and that's it, right? Like, who knew? If I had told you 5 years ago I was going to be a blockchain analyst or I was going to be an NFT guru, right? Even 10 years ago, if I told you I was going to be, a Google analyst, or those things didn't exist back then, right? So you have to be a lifelong learner. Once upon a time, you could have a career for 30, 40, 50 years, but those days are simply gone. In fact, there's an interesting statistic I read that something like 85% of the jobs that the current high school graduation class will have in 20 years don't even exist today. So if you're not a lifelong learner, I hope you've got a wealthy uncle.
That's it. That's it. All right. Bonus round on the 5 and 5, time management.
Oh gosh. And isn't that a stepping stone for all of us? It's an absolutely essential skill that every one of us need to work on. Present company included.
Myself included, my friend.
And being a lifelong learner of time management.
And being a lifelong, one more arm and a 30-hour day, and maybe I'd get it done.
That's it. Yeah.
No, that's amazing. No, thanks for that. Perfect topics, perfect recap of everything that you are doing at the recruitment center right there, for all the internships and all the programs that you have at the Mira Costa Technology Career Institute, TCI.
Come see us. We've got ongoing tours every Friday morning at 9. You don't need a reservation. You don't need to do anything but show up, and we'll give you a tour of the campus. And if anything sparks your interest, we're happy to have a conversation.
Perfect. Repeat that. When are the walk-in?
Fridays at 9.
Yeah.
Fridays at 9 a.m. You can go to the website is Commed.MiraCosta.edu. Com as in community education, so 2 M's, Commed.MiraCosta.edu. That's our website. But Fridays at 9, we're just a stone's throw from Palomar Airport up in Carlsbad.
Yeah, awesome. And then when they walk in, who do they see? Are they walking into
They'll be Debbie, Pat, or Janelle at the front office. Cool. Tell them what you want, and they'll either grab me or one of the other work skills.
And if you're listening to the podcast and that was your connection to going over to the Institute, let them know that you listened to Chris, and hopefully he's there and he'll come out and meet you.
Yep, book your airplane flight and get over to Mira Costa College.
That's right. Chris, thank you again.
Thank you, guys. You're
awesome.
doing a really important thing here. Skilled trades needs more representation for everyone. So I'm really appreciative of your efforts.
Thank you. We appreciate you coming down. It's a lot of great information, and we had fun with that 5 and 5.
Yeah, no, that was perfect. Thanks again.
Thanks, guys.